morning, everybody. I'm Micheline from Americana Long Arm Quilting. We do custom quilting and long arming, and you can find a link to our website in the description below. Today is another in our series of Create a Blocks, where we're just doing a block. Remember, there are no rules. We're just going to have some fun. We're going to pick our block out of this Quilt Builder card deck. We've left a link below. We'll leave a link below to where you can get this. My daughter got this for me a couple of years ago. Okay, let's pick our block. Okay, here we go. Old Tippecanoe. That's the one we're going to make today. Okay, let me do a little bit of research on the internet and see if I can find some fun history that you might not know about Old Tippecanoe. Okay, so I did some research, and this quilt block, Old Tippecanoe, has some really interesting history. We'll get into more of that in a little bit. But first, I picked out some fabric. I always try and pick out a focal fabric that I can then add to. And this is my focal fabric this time. So it's got these little dots, if you will, and it's yellows and oranges and pinks on kind of a rusty red background. So I thought this would match the little yellowy specks in there very good. And then this one is going to be really a subtle change, but it's got pinks in it. It's got oranges in it. So I think this grunge is going to be really neat too. Okay, so those are going to be my fabrics for Old Tippecanoe. Now, the way these cards work is, if you can see, there's a chart down below there. Okay, so the first thing you do is you pick out the size block that you want to make. And then you go over here and it'll tell you how many of what you need to cut. So for instance, with this one, I'm going to make an 8-inch block. Okay, so and right here in the middle, that's how you put it together, and it's got it labeled A, B, and C. So it tells me I need to cut 8 pieces for A. Well, this is going to be my A. And then I need to cut, and then I'll cut those in half diagonally to create 16 pieces. Of B, we'll call this one B, I'm going to need to cut 4 squares and cut them in half diagonally. I think it's wanting me to make half square triangles is what it's wanting me to do. And then of this one, again, 4, creating 8 half square triangles. Now, in the past, when I've made half square triangles using these cards, they give you the exact measurement. So if your cutting is a tiny bit off, or if your 1/4 inch seam's a tiny bit off, you might not come up with the exact size half square triangle that you need to create the block. So what I've always done is I've made it just a little bit bigger. They're saying I need squares that are 2 7/8. I'm going to cut 3-inch squares. So that's 1/8 of an inch more, and that'll give me something in the end that I can trim my block down to the exact size that I need it. Okay, let's get to cutting. Okay, so I'm following my directions on how many I need to cut from my little chart here. I've got all 3 of my fabrics lined up, and I'm going to start cutting 3-inch strips. Now, I need a little bit more than 1 strip of each of my gold and my focal fabric, and then I need some more of this. And here's why I need more. You know what I keep on saying? Okay, so this pattern is all half square triangles. That's all it is. Okay, so I've cut my pieces, and I had cut 16 of these. It was supposed to be of these. Anyway, I went back and fixed that. I have drawn a line, a diagonal line from corner to corner, being very careful that it's in the corner. You know, sometimes when you're drawing those lines, they'll kind of be just outside the corner. Now I'm just going to run these through the machine. and I'm going to do all of them. I've got 4 of each. That will turn into 8, 8 each half square triangles with the 2 different colors. So while I'm doing this, let's talk a little bit about where this name came from. So first of all, this block is actually broken. The broken dishes this is what it's called. It's called the broken dishes pattern. And it was just, broken dishes ended up being called just all kinds of different things throughout the years. And one of the names that it got changed to was Old Tippecanoe. Now, broken dishes pattern was 1790s was the first time it was, that's when they attribute broken dishes to the first time it was seen, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so where did it get the name Tippecanoe? Well, back in the early days of our country, people would name their quilt blocks after political campaigns. And this was a campaign for William Henry Harrison in 1840. And his slogan was Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Tyler was his running mate. Where'd Tippecanoe come from, you ask? Well, in 1811, William Henry Harrison was the commanding officer at the Battle of Tippecanoe. And he won that battle, and he was I guess he was a military hero. So when he started to run in 1840 against Van Buren, was the incumbent president. When he started to run against him, they wanted to highlight that he was this big, tough, rugged man that had won a battle. And evidently Van Buren was more of an aristocrat, so they were trying to really showcase Van Buren's toughness. So his slogan became Tippecanoe and Tyler too. And so the ladies of the time who wanted to support him, they changed the name of broken dishes to Tippecanoe, to Old Tippecanoe. And that's where it got its name. Now, don't you wonder nowadays what we would name some of our quilt blocks? Oh my goodness. So William Henry Harrison, yep, I've got my notes right over here. He won the election by a landslide, like 234 electoral votes to 60. And it was his win was short-lived because he passed away 32 days after his inauguration. And Tyler, his running mate, became president. But evidently it was quite a hullabaloo back then as to the succession. So, because I guess we were still putting all that together. So that is where the name comes from, and a little bit of the history. I think that's pretty neat. I hope you did too. Okay, we've got all of our half square triangles. Got a line, or we've sewn a line down each side of the line that we drew. Okay, now we're just going to trim these in half. And I'm just going to use my scissors because I don't want to get up and go around the table to use my seam ripper, or not my seam ripper, my rotary cutter. Of course, I've got a mat sitting right there too. Okay, well, we're just going to cut some of these up. And I get to use my new scissors that my friend Leah gave me. These are Kai's, so, you know, they're such nice scissors. why not use them? How many of you like to do things kind of an old-fashioned way, that you like the textile feel of using scissors sometimes instead of a rotary cutter? Sometimes it's just nice. You know how some people like to read books the old-fashioned way instead of listening to them on your phone? They like to actually, you know, read the physical book. I like to do that too. So sometimes it's just nice to do it like that. Okay, so we're going to press these, and I'm going to press them open. All right. Let's see. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to press them to the dark side because I'm going to use my block lock to square all of these up. And honestly, whether I had cut them at 2 7/8 like the pattern said, or whether I had cut them at 3, I still would have had to square them up. I've done a block already. That's how I know that. You know? Okay. We're almost got these done. Oopsies. Okay, you don't need to see me do the rest of those. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our little rotating mat over here, and my block lock, and my rotary cutter, if I could find it. There it is right there. Now, if you want to see me give you a tutorial on how to use the block lock, I have a video in my how-to series that shows you all about how to use it, and we'll leave a link to that one in below in the description. But it's a great product, and I really like it. So I'm just going to trim these up to 2.5 inches. There we go. Okay, I'm going to do that to all of them, and then when we come back, I'll show you how we're going to lay it out. I've got them all laid out. Isn't that cute? I didn't realize it before, but they make windmills, and I love that. Or pinwheels, not windmills. I mean, same thing, but anyway. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead, and I'm going to make them in quadrants, okay? Isn't it funny how so many blocks, you know, now that we're talking history of blocks, start their life out as a 4-patch or a 9-patch? So I'm going to make four patches, and then I'm going to put them together. Now, keep in mind that on this one, these two, the red with the circles, touch, and the orange grunge does not. But when you move over here, it's the red with the dots that do not touch, and the orange grunge that does. And then we go back to the way this one was done, and then we go back to the way this one was done. So when you're putting these together, don't just think that it's 4 that are made identically. They're not. Okay, so I'm going to set this down here, and I'm just going to come up here like this. Now, I'm going to nest those 2 seams really carefully. Okay, can you see where I've nested those 2 seams? Right there like that. But I don't want to send that through the machine first, because sometimes when you're sending something thick, when you start that out at the machine, when you start it going through the machine first, it does some funny things. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to start it through on the side that doesn't have any seams on it. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to come over here and get this one. Let me put my glasses back on. Now this one, as I have picked it up, is turned in the direction that will be most beneficial going through the machine. Okay, And then I'm going to do the rest of them, but I will just show you this one. Okay. Okay, now let's press these open. Okay. And this is just always the fiddly part. Okay. So when I press open, I usually start my pressing on the back and then go to the front. That way I don't have any seams turning over and doing naughty things. And you don't have to do too much pressing from the back, just kind of give it a start. Okay, there we go. Now let's put this back where it belongs. Let's see, it goes like this. Okay, there we go, it goes like this. And now we're going to put that together, matching those center seams and nesting the half square triangles at the corners. And this is a small enough piece that I'm not going to pin it. I'm just going to hold on to it real good because it's small. All right. Make sure that last one is nested really well. And now let's see how it turned out. There you go. Turned out perfectly. Now I'm going to press that seam open and get the rest of those done, and then I'll show you how to put them all together. Okay, we are on the home stretch of our little Old Tippecanoe. So I've got my 4 patches, and now I'm just going to sew them together like that. Okay, let's take this first one, put my glasses on so I can see. I'm going to match up that center seam. Okay, put this one through. There we go. Okay. Had a call coming in. Can't be interrupted by a phone call. I'll call them back. Okay, so I've got my 2 seams, or I've got my 2 pieces sewn together. Now let's press these open. So first I'm going to set the seams, and then we'll press it open. So I'm just, when I go to press this open, I'm just kind of giving some light pressure against one another. I'm going to hold my hand on it like that, and then I'll just kind of run my finger down that like that and get that seam started being open, and then I can do the rest of it. I just need to set it there for a second. Doesn't have to be, you know, pressed so hard. And then I'm just going to let that iron sit there while I get this next one ready. Again, I'm going to put a little tension on it. That is going to ensure that I don't get any of those little wrinkles on the front as I'm first turning that over. Okay. Get that one pressed. We'll put this one back up here where we want it. Now we're going to turn this guy over and press from the front. And all my little intersections look so good. Look at that cute little pinwheel. Isn't it precious? Okay, so now I'm going to put that there. And then we're going to sew them together. And I have 3 others done. So then what we're going to do is we're going to decide how we want to put the 4 of them together. Because, you know, there are no rules. I'm really enjoying this series. I don't like rules. What am I saying? I am a rule follower. How many of us say that? I'm a vagabond. I don't like rules. Don't tell me what to do. And then we follow all the rules meticulously. It's safer that way. Oh, goodness. Okay. Set our seams And let's press this one open too. Get rid of some of the bulk in here. There we go. Get it to where I can start my iron. Here we are. You get down there. Don't disagree with me. Concentrating, I can't talk. Okay. Now I'll do it like that. And isn't that cute? There's your little Tippecanoe block. Very cute. All right, let's put them up on the design board and show a couple of different ways that these 4 blocks can go together and see what kind of secondary patterns we get. All right, I've got my 4 little pieces up here, and as far as I can tell, there are 2 ways that we can arrange this. We can arrange them all in the same direction. So light, 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 and light. And then we can also do it this way. We're going to turn that one, and we're going to turn this one. Now, this one gives us kind of a fun secondary pattern in the center and makes it look completely different. The last one had this, our polka dots lined going all the way through, and then it had them going here and here. I'll switch it back so you can see. Okay, so let's start this over again. All right, I didn't show that very well. So our first layout has lines of the reddish color going this way in all 3, which is very pretty. I like it a lot, but I'm kind of leaning towards this one because it makes that secondary pattern in the center. I kind of like that. Let's put it together like that. As I was putting these together, I realized there's another way to put them together. Okay, so I was putting them together like this. Okay. The other way to put them together, and it's basically the same thing, but it makes it look completely different, is to put them together like this. And you get, then you see the star in it more. See, doing it the other way, I didn't really see the star, and doing it this way, I do. Let's do it, let's switch it out again. Oopsies. Come back up here, you. We'll switch it out one more time. See if we can see the star if we look for it. Nope, no star that way. Okay, this way or this way? I think I'm going to change my mind and make it into a star. What would you guys do? Let me know in the comments. Got a puppy barking in the background. You'll have to excuse them. This is our Tippecanoe, and I made 4 of them and put them together because there are no rules, and I wanted to. So I really love the way it turned out. I love the little star. Now I'm getting all the dogs below me. To round out our history lesson, William Henry Harrison died of pneumonia. Now you know. This is Tippecanoe. Hey, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Do all the things that make that algorithm sing or the dogs bark. And until next time, stay quilting. Bye.